Hello again. I am Part Tom, still not changed my name. But what we have here is a clan war, and we have it between Team XP and Team bYs. We have Hopetorture, the hopeful, who's managed to get the game back to start equalising back to 2-1 after the incredible rampage that happened previously. But we have the next player for Team bYs, Nuss, and he is in the top left. I know which way things are, and he is the pink Terran. And in the bottom right we have Hopetorture, and we have a red Zerg, and they are the same person. We'll probably see about pretty much the same standard play that we saw from the Terran last time, because it's honestly just kind of slowly been proven to be a very efficient, very powerful way to play, because tanks are incredibly strong units and they're able to kill Zerglings and kill roaches and kill banelings and kill infestors, and the entire Zerg powerful army is all on the ground, so tanks work incredibly well against them, whereas the Zerg hopes to be able to just completely swarm over the tanks to prevent their AoE damage from doing enough, and to allow them to just swarm straight in and kill everything off before they die, which is why lots of Zergs go for the infestors or the banelings, because of that AoE damage. Again, 15 hatch coming out for Hopetorture. It really is the standard in Terran vs Zerg, and we see a 1-rax expand coming out. Actually, no, we don't. We see a command center first, which will put him on an incredibly strong economic position, because he's got that command center that little bit early. But the drone's going to be trying to do a little bit of damage, but he won't be able to take out the SCV. Okay. So we have the Overlord coming in here, and he's going to be scouting these two gases, and later on he's going to be probably floating in, scouting the buildings, scouting how many units there are, as we see 2 barracks coming down and probably a 3rd, which will be able to probably put on slight aggression, but also the idea is to be able to stop any aggression which is going to be coming out, because barracks have a full 1000 HP, more than double what a supply depot has, which will just completely prevent any baneling busts really from being efficient at all. It'll prevent Zerglings from being able to do much, although it'll be slightly annoying for protecting this 3rd, but that because you can't get out and in so easily. But it won't be so difficult, obviously, because he can just take down these destructible destructible rocks, and just go straight in. The question is, will he be aggressive with his Marines? And I would guess that he's probably not going to be, honestly, because it's too late to be able to do any real pressure to the Zerg, and he's already forcing spine crawlers to come out. So we have speed on the way for the Zerg, and we have a baneling Nuss, so he's probably going to be going for a baneling bust, I would guess, although it could also be a defensive bust, because he's seeing these 3 barracks and he's going, you're going to have lots of Marines, I need banelings to defend against this. So that's a very good idea. And the Overlord's probably quite confused, because he's seeing these 2 refineries coming down right now, and what he's thinking is, that's very early. He's going obviously mech, but also at the same time he had a extractor down here, and he had an extractor down here, and he's seen these 3 barracks. Sorry, he had sight to this gas, and he was sitting on this gas with his with his extractor. So he knows that there's at a max 2 refineries, but if you were playing in a standard game, this would be kind of indicative of a very aggressive push. So these Marines are actually now moving out. They're not going to go all the way into the base, I wouldn't guess, but they're just going to be preventing any map control for the Zerg to kind of scare him off, as these Queens are actually now moving out, and I don't think this is very clever for the Zerg. I think that if he doesn't pull them back right now, then these Marines are just going to be able to kill them straight off. But it doesn't matter, because we have upgrades about to come out for the Terran, and we have more barracks and a factory coming down now, as these Marines are actually now stepping round the third, and I think he might have to cancel this, honestly. Even if it's right now, then he won't have to cancel, but that's a lot of damage that's been put down. It's going to be on about 250, 300 health by the time it pops out, which isn't very good. If he hadn't put those creep tumors down, he would have been able to transfuse it up a little bit, but as it is, he's still fine. These two refineries haven't yet gone down, but there are quite vulnerable upgrades being made right now. So if you walked in some banelings here, you'd be able to take down the supply depot and the tech lab researching stim at the same time, which would be an incredibly efficient trade, especially if you wait, say, 50 seconds, because you've scouted that something's researching. So if you wait, then you'll guarantee that it's still researching by that time, because he recently looked at it. But the thing is that the Zerg's actually very, very carefully defending this. He's putting down two spine crawlers. He's making sure to have good vision around it. But if a drop comes in here, for example, in a couple of minutes, then it could be very vulnerable. As we see two medevacs coming out now, which will give a reasonably strong timing push, because they should align hopefully with the stim and the combat shields. So he'll probably be moving out on maybe 4 medevacs and Marines. Also, we know that he's going for bio, which is a style which has been growing quite popular recently, as you can trade armies if you trade armies very often, then you can sometimes be incredibly efficient and force the Zerg to have a very small economy when what they want to do is have 80 drones. So you walk in and you kill their army with your bio, and then as soon as you've killed their army, they're forced to make more army. So that means they don't have drones, and these Zerglings are actually moving out, which could be incredibly bad for the Zerg, as these Marines are just going to be able to drop and be a complete surprise. There's nothing really apart from these two Queens, these two spines, and they should even be able to just walk straight in and get and maybe even kill off this final remaining 600 HP. As they stim in, they take out one Queen, but Zerglings fend them off quite easily. But this drop here is now actually walking in, and in a minute they'll be able to stim in, take out some drones, take out some Queens, but that's reacted to incredibly quickly by the Zerg, as every single Marine here has died, but the Terran is trying to focus down this bailing nest, but it's just not going to happen. And honestly, what you want to do in that position is you want to focus down the spawning pool, because it's so detrimental to the Terran who's trying to make Zerglings. But actually he's getting some reasonable prevention on the mining, because these drones, and he still hasn't noticed, are not mining. However, he's only killed 3 workers, which puts him surprisingly behind, because the idea of bio is that you do enough damage that the Zerg is limited. So apart from these Zerglings which he's forced, he's doing okay. I mean, fortunately the Zerg has been forced to make Zerglings, but he only needs to make a half of these, not even that many really. But he did fortunately make them in preparation for this timing push which is coming in. Reasonably good splitting, but these Thunderers are now coming down, but there's 4 medevacs which may even be able to deal with them, but no, there's just too many Zerglings. As every single Marine is cleaned up, the medevacs are forced to run away, and the Zerg is doing pretty well, honestly, in this. But while that's all been happening, Nuss has taken his third and he's saturated it, so he is able to add on that much more production, and he's able to add on upgrades, which hopefully should be coming down in a second. But it looks like Hopetorture, after having that win, he wants to push out, he wants to do the damage, and honestly it looks like he might be able to do it. The medevacs are just sitting here, there's more of them sitting in the main, but I don't think they'll be able to do very much, considering they're all so strung out and so doing nothing. But no, every single infestor, apart from 2 of them, just walked out and got shot by the Marines, and that is not good for your insurance plan. But there's still Zerglings left, which have managed to be cleared up because of those medevacs just not being there, and that's killing so many SCVs. And I'm not even sure if there's enough. Will the Marines be able to hold out? I'm not sure they will, especially if he keeps swarming in with those Zerglings. Now dropping some more infested Terrans, the Zergling numbers dropping very quickly, and it looks like it will be cleaned up, and these infestors will be forced to run away. But he has been put reasonably far behind, actually, I would have to say, from that, because he has managed to kill 28 workers in that single push, putting the Terran down to only 42. But fortunately he has mules to help him catch back up. And after that's happened, the Zerg thought, I know what, I just attacked him, let's put down my third. So he's making another wave of Zerglings and infestors, trading, I have to say, incredibly efficiently, but another drop comes down, and it's going to be too late for this Spinecrawler. But there's only 4 Marines in it, and it's not actually yet being watched, and it's not really doing anything at the moment. But now he's worked out what's happening, and the Spinecrawler goes down, and there we go. He's now sending in the Marines, but the Zerglings can be able to cope with it very quickly. But this has actually been able to force a cancel on the 4th with just a single drop, which is incredibly efficient. But these Spinecrawlers are just going to stop any real damage from coming down onto this 3rd. Both players actually now want to move out, and I have to say, he's almost got too many medivacs. With this style, you really need to add on something else which requires gas by this time, really. So if you transition into, I don't know, maybe mech or something, because lots of players actually add on Thors because they're incredibly strong against Banelings. So you can prevent the Banelings from doing anything. If you rely on the Zerg from attack moving, then you'll be incredibly strong. Good splitting coming out, preventing any real fungal growth damage coming out. But there's just so many Zerglings, and I have 3 pages of these things, and I think they'll be able to clean them up, even with this many medevacs, because they just can't heal that fast. But actually, there's no more fungal growth coming out, and they managed to clean every single one up. These Marines are invincible, but there's infested Terrans now. They can't hold on. Surely not. But it doesn't matter, because more Marines have been stimmed down to help come down. And I'm actually worrying for the Zerg. I think he might be about to die. He's got no energy left. The Marines are all staying alive. The Zerglings aren't able to cut it. They're just healing up way too fast. The 2-2 Marines, it's not even 3-3. It doesn't matter. The Zerglings just can't cut the mustard. There is a medevac for every single Marine, or near enough, and he's just able to walk straight through the army. Fungal growths, I don't care. They just don't do anything. Focusing down this hatchery now, and it's going to limit the economy incredibly strongly as he puts down his own 4th. He's now ahead of the Zergon economy, and he's not going to be able to hold this, I think. He's 65 supply ahead, and finally very fungal, but it just doesn't matter. There's that many medevacs. He needs either Banelings or he needs Mutualists to clear up these medevacs, but it just doesn't matter. He can't do anything. Or Ultralists even, but he doesn't have the tech, and he just leaves the game. He just can't take it. And while I was looking at that, this push came in, killed his 3rd. Damage limitation